All right, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 8. We are nerds in a box, and we are very happy to be back here for our 8th episode. Woo! Technically 8.5. We talked about our half episode a few weeks back. That's not the point.
Yes.
For those of you that are just joining us for the first time, first off, thank you. Second, I'm Sean Dwyer.
Dan Kiefer.
Tessa Barletta.
And we've been doing this show for, I guess, 2 months now.
Oh, yeah.
A little more than...
Oh my god.
I didn't even think about
2
that.
months and a week, so that's been really great. So, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for the
coming
support.
back.
Yeah,
thank you for the support. Everybody's awesome. We had some comments on our posts on our wall this week, and we're going to talk about them in our show. Speaking of our show, tonight we're going to be talking about superhero TV shows. A few weeks ago on our 0.5 or half episode, we were talking about a superhero TV show preview. Mm-hmm. So, along with the fact that Walking Dead premieres, the new season premieres tonight as of this filming. Mm-hmm. There's no other perfect time to talk about it because we've got Walking Dead coming back. We've got The Flash that debuted this week. We've got Arrow coming back this week. Mm-hmm. That came back this week. We had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a few weeks ago. And then we've got, let me see, Gotham, thank you. That's the other one I'm thinking of. So we're going to be talking about all of those, talking about, how we feel about those, how you guys feel about those, where we think it could be going, news we've heard, and then we're going to be talking about comic books a little bit, and then we are going to be covering a little bit of news from New York Comic Con, because that's a big event that's going on. I wish I was there. We all do. So
our budget is still a cardboard box, guys.
it's okay. It's doing great.
Yeah. But it's got great people.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it too. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. So we're going to be talking about New York Comic Con, and then we have a question. We have 2 questions. We're going to be covering Pyro and...
I mean, we can introduce what we're going to be doing on our Facebook as well with that.
So we can talk about that. Then we got 2 questions from you guys, so we're going to be answering that. So we got a jam-packed show, so I guess without further ado, let's get started.
Woo-hoo.
So, first thing we're going to talk about is the superhero that is on my shirt right now. That is The Flash.
Yes.
Yeah.
CW Tuesday nights at 8. That came on the air earlier this week. Mm-hmm. The pilot was actually leaked over the summer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I saw it over the summer.
I was going to say, Dan
cheated.
I'm a terrible person, guys.
Dan committed a crime.
I was just really excited. Okay?
Yep.
Don't judge. Lots of people watched it.
It's okay.
I saw the premiere anyways. I made sure that I watched that because, I want to support as well. It was really good. It was worth it.
Exactly. Well, that's good of you. So I'm sure the CW thanks you.
I do what I can.
And we both saw it too for the first time on Tuesday, and I loved it. I think for me, that's at the top of my list right now. Mm-hmm. Because I don't watch a whole lot of Arrow. You two do. Yes. You two are going to be talking about Arrow and what's going on there.
Oh, exactly.
Mm-hmm. I watch Flash. Flash and Gotham are the 2 I'm watching right now. I need to catch up hardcore on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm still stuck in mid-season 1. But The Flash immediately went to the top of my list. Mm-hmm. I love it. The acting's really great. Mm-hmm. It's got a great comic book feel to it with some of the elements.
It's cheesy while still being fun.
Exactly. And there are dramatic elements to it too. So it's not heavy-handed.
Mm-hmm. They picked a great cast, honestly.
I love Grant Gustin.
Grant Gustin.
He's perfect. Like when he came on Arrow, I was like, the guy from Glee, whatever, okay.
Yeah,
he did okay in Arrow, but then in the premiere, that's the word. He just knocked it out of the park, and I loved it. Because we grew up with Wally West. Yeah. We didn't grow up with Barry Allen, so it was also one of those things but I want Wally. I don't necessarily want Barry back, but he was great. He was so good.
Yep. He did a great job. Really embodied that kind of charismatic. Mm-hmm.
Dork.
I guess dork,
he's
boy next door kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. Nerdy boy next door.
And I like that he's wiry and stringy. The Flash when he gets older does get kind of built, but he's never this big hulking thing like a lot of the other heroes.
Exactly.
I like that he did embody that.
But he's still as they obviously wanted to show when he was shirtless.
Lightning gave me abs.
That was a great line.
Let's be real. What comic book show does not be well, God, we just haven't had a shirtless scene in it yet. Let's put one in.
Yeah, exactly. He did a great job of embodying that almost Peter Parker vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves Spider-Man because he's just this guy that that could be us, and so they did a great job of making him seem almost like an everyman kind of person, and I loved what they did there.
And I love Jesse L. Martin because I completely
yes,
forgot.
Jesse L. Martin.
And I love that he's a series regular. Like, I thought he was just going to be like a guest star thrown in there, but the fact that he's a regular made me crazy.
The fact he's a regular, and the fact that he's the caretaker, for Barry Allen.
Yeah. Like a second father figure.
Yeah, and he knows about his secret.
Which is going to be a lot of fun to play with.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. We obviously posted it when we posted the video, but spoilers.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the whole time.
I mean, you should know this by now, but we're going to be covering spoilers, so...
For all of the shows that we talk about.
Yeah, so heads up, I'm going to be spoiled for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and a few other things this episode. I've prepared myself emotionally.
Yes.
So, as much as one can for Joss Whedon shows.
Yeah.
So...
Just don't be attached to all these wonderful, lovable characters. That's how you make them.
Exactly. But, with him knowing his secret... That plays into a whole new dynamic, because he's basically like... Oh, do we have an ant?
Tessa the ant killer.
Oh, okay.
See, this is how our smaller budget is. We have an ant in our box. We're good.
So anyway, back on topic. So we've got, he knows his secret, and he made Barry Allen promise not to tell Iris, who seems to be the romantic interest.
Yeah, she's his traditional romantic interest in the comics.
Yes. In the show, yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out, because...
Well, she also views him as like a brother. Best friend.
Yeah, exactly. But still, like, in terms of him keeping the secret... I know one of my favorite shows is Chuck, and on that show, him being a spy, he had to keep that from his sister, and he kept that from his sister for 3 seasons, and, the show's really good, but then once his immediate family found out about a secret, the show got really good. So I'm wondering if, they may be hampered by the fact that she doesn't know.
I don't necessarily think it'll be hampered. Let's be real. Okay, so bringing back Chuck for a bit. Yes, the show kind of exploded once everybody found out, and then you got more of a group dynamic. However, you still have to set that foundation.
Yeah.
This is still the first season. They have a lot of room to wiggle.
Oh, yeah.
I would say not even until the 3rd season should she find out.
I can see that.
Well, it's also one of those things, I think it gives more gravitas to what's happening with him. If, it makes it more... just heavier for him to carry than it's like, well, I can't tell my best friend about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the person I'm in love with.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's really rough. And everyone has to suffer because those are the rules of superhero-dom. So,
Yep.
Gotta have some of that.
Although I'm a little surprised that more people don't know he's the Flash, considering, there's straight up a scene in the episode when he chases after a speeding car, and he jumps inside the car, and then he flips the car over.
Well, he's moving faster than anybody can see.
Well, yeah, but even when they get out of the car, they're standing face to face, and he's got his cuts on him. It's like, even if you don't even realize that, a cop's gonna see that and be like, wait, he was just back there. How is he here now?
Well, then...
That was the one thing that didn't make sense to me.
Well, they're also thinking, he could have, stopped, run, skidded and run, Iris into the whatever, grabbed him and pulled him into the car and still sped off.
Yeah.
So, because they don't believe, they didn't believe him years ago when he told them, this flash of light came and killed my mom.
So they'll come up with some kind of reason to be like, no, this is why you're here. It's like, no, I ran this fast. No, you didn't.
Yeah, sure, good point.
You kid.
And I love the Sherlock moment.
Yes, they barely had it, but him going down and then seeing the text pop up, that was really cool. I love being able to see that.
I love that that's becoming a trope. That's a thing that happens now. I love that so much.
Well, that was actually my favorite thing about Sherlock.
Was that you can see it.
Whether it was the TV show, the movie with Robert Downey Jr., they both had that I'm gonna actively show you my thought process, and I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Because in all of these shows and all these books and comics, you're like, God, I wonder how their brain works. I wonder what's going through their head to get to these conclusions. And now that we can see them, I think that's a great thing to give out.
It helps with believability, I guess, in the superhero world, but also it takes you along for the ride. It's not like somebody just is talking out of their ass. It's like, oh no, this is this. Well, why? Well, why? Just is this superhero logic? Is this the random world logic? It's like, no, it's part of the world, and it helps make the audience feel more part of the show.
Do you think they're going to show those texts go up a lot faster now?
I hope so. It was kind of maybe I'm too used to Sherlock, but it was kind of slow the way they showed up.
Maybe they did it because he is the Flash now, so so he's thinking in the beginning, and then now the next time they're going to start popping up on top of each other, so it's a little scrambled for us, because he's trying to control his own thoughts, because not only does his body move faster, but his thoughts do as well.
That'd be a cool aspect.
Really
I'd love to see that they thought about that like ahead of time. Well, I'm interested with the dynamic between him and Harrison Wells and the other two scientists.
The lab assistants.
The lab assistants. Yeah. Oh, is that Danielle Panabaker, by the way?
Yeah,
from Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And cool to see her doing something.
Yeah.
No, she did really well.
Yeah.
I was a little bit surprised.
Oh, that's to be,
But no, I mean, I enjoyed her in other shows, and she did really well in this, and I was happy to see that she's moving on.
Yeah, it was really cool, and I like what's his name, because I was wondering, I was like, is this guy just around for like
Harrison
comedic
Wells,
relief?
or
the
one that
Carlos-
designs. Oh, I can't remember his name, but the one that designs all his toys.
But he doesn't seem to be doing anything for like the first half of the show. I was like, are you here for a reason, or you just hang out with this chick and do nothing?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I build this, and I was like, okay, cool, yes,
Yeah,
all right.
I like that he actually designs stuff. So that
And how he's like tricking out his costume a little bit.
Yeah, right. I love that.
That was great.
Yeah. And the best, one thing that I love about comic book shows is every single character has a purpose. Both of them have eventually in the comic book series become either heroes or villains. I believe actually both of them become villains.
Yeah, she's Killer Frost and he's something.
I forgot what he was, but I looked it up and I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting to see all of that kind of blow up in Barry Allen's face. It's just to see all that happen. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
And I also love what they did. A lot of people complained about the Gorilla Grodd
The
cameo.
reference?
Yeah, because
with
of
that?
it's fan service. Or there was another one that's like, well, why are you showing us this now? But my thing is, because there's no way you're going to be able to get a CGI gorilla in the show. That's just too much money. We're having enough money thrown at him just being himself, just being the Flash. There's no possible way on the planet they can do that. But Gorilla Grodd was still one of Flash's big villains.
Yeah.
So that's a way to be like, hey guys, we know you'd love to see this. We can't, but we're going to give you what we can in this moment.
Yeah.
Although,
I thought that was great.
I don't know if they're. I'm sure that they'll be able to do something like that. I don't know though, because I don't think that they just show it and then not do it. Like they show it in the pilot and then not follow up on that. Because I thought that was a great reference. I love that.
I just don't see how that. I mean,
True.
that's just a crap load of money.
It
That is
is.
so much
They-
to just throw at a TV show.
That being said,
And CW is not. It's not
Yeah,
that's
funded
true.
by Marvel and
Yeah.
Disney and all this other stuff.
that being said though, it was CW's highest rating premiere
In
5 years, which is huge. And then they do have the DC payroll, and through that they have Warner Brothers. So maybe if it becomes big, then they can be like, all right, you have some money to do that. Obviously, nothing to the dollar like Rocket Raccoon, but
Unless they go the Planet of the Apes route, where he's they just make up your face. They choose a human human actor and just put crap loads of makeup on.
Andy Serkis for
Little,
everything.
little Lou Ferrigno style going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that. So.
Can they get Lou Ferrigno?
I mean, I don't know if they can afford it.
No.
I don't know if they can afford it.
I don't want.
But
No.
I'm a sucker for Lou Ferrigno.
No, I am too, but no.
But yeah, that's way too much money.
Well, speaking of Harrison Wells, the big thing about that episode was that at the end of it, you find out Harrison Wells can actually walk, and that
It's obviously from the future.
yeah, he's from the future because he goes into the secret room and
With crazy space tech.
yep, and he pushes a button, and then a newspaper article pops up that says the Flash disappears.
In 2024.
In 2024, and a lot of people are thinking that that's a crisis, an infinite crisis thing going on, because that's the creators of the show said that they're heavily influenced by the comic series, so people are wondering if that's where it comes from. But people are mainly wondering, who is this guy? Who is Harrison Wells? Because he's not in the comics. He's a brand new character just for this show, so you can't find out anything about him.
Or it could be like the John Harrison scenario from Star Trek Into Darkness,
Yeah.
where they just give him a different name.
I can see that.
Because I really think it's Reverse Flash, and everyone's like, no, it's not, no, it's not, no, it's not. But I was like, well, I don't know who else, because he's obviously in 10 years we're not going to have that crazy technology that he has in that room. So I feel like he needs to be farther ahead than that in the time travel.
I mean, the options on that, or the theories that are going around, is Professor Zoom, and he's actually going to be in the show because there's there were pictures of released of Professor Zoom and the Flash fighting. So he's going to be there in the first season. We don't know how, but he's going to be there, and that people are wondering if he's the one that killed Flash's mom, because it looks an awful lot like him in that scene. So, he's one of the theories. Another theory is that it's Booster Gold.
Which I would
from the future.
I would die if it was
Booster Gold would be interesting.
But he's a little too humble for Booster Gold, though. Booster Gold's too much of a show-off, I feel like.
Yeah, because Booster Gold went back in time to be a superhero.
Yeah, and to get famous.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's a little too under the radar for him.
Yeah.
Although they might still bring in Booster Gold another way. I feel like people would freak out.
I would freak out. And I'm more of a Marvel than a DC fan, to be honest. But like, if they had Booster Gold, I would die.
I'd probably die laughing if they had Booster Gold. The other popular theory is that it's actually future Barry Allen, because Tom Cavanaugh and Grant Gustin look very similar.
They do.
If you think about it.
That's true.
Tom Cavanaugh looks like an older Grant Gustin. So a lot of people are wondering if that's Flash from the future. And maybe he went missing because he had to go back in time
to save himself or
to
something?
save himself.
So, or somebody else.
Yeah.
Exactly. So a lot of people are wondering if that's what the thing is.
That'd be really cool.
They still have that cosmic treadmill somewhere out there in the DC universe.
But then you go through the whole thing. He went back in time to create the thing to give himself powers.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a fan of creating that loop.
I can see that.
Or maybe he went back to stop it. Like he knew that thing was going to happen, that they were going to set up that power, the accelerator and everything, and he wanted to stop it, and it still backfired.
True.
Oh.
That'd be really interesting. He's like, I came back to fix it, and I made it worse.
And
so, which is why he might be so crotchety and so like trying to get himself to get better at being the Flash quicker.
I guess.
Like, get better at this so we can fix what I did.
There's an article on Entertainment Weekly where they actually were talking to Jeff Johns about it. I think I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah, it's Jeff
Okay,
Johns.
cool. I've heard it pronounced so many different ways, but they actually throw out a theory that it's like, is he from the future, and the whole reason he's there is because he's a villain and he's trying to groom the Flash into a nemesis. And
into a villain eventually.
Yeah,
into Reverse Flash.
And Jeff Johns was like, that'd be pretty interesting. That's an interesting theory. I'm not gonna tell you if it's it or not, but so that could be another idea. So we don't know exactly what he is, why he's there.
That's really interesting.
But we're gonna find out answers to that eventually, because we still have to deal with Wentworth Miller as Captain Cold, and he's gonna be in episode 4. So he's got the parka, he's got the gun, he's got the glasses. He's got everything set. He's gonna be ready to go. He's gonna be a recurring villain.
That's what I love about this too. Is like this is a DC show that doesn't seem to have the DC syndrome of like, oh, it's too corny, oh, it's too this, oh, it's too that. It's like, throw them out in weird costumes and all, nobody cares, it's the Flash. So like, I really love that they're letting go a little bit. And they're like, this is who we are, we're quirky and fun and dorky just as much as Marvel is.
Well, and I'm sure they're going to be making fun of it a little bit as well, because it's Barry Allen. He's quirky.
Yeah.
He's snarky. He'll say like, why are you wearing a parka? And then he'll probably have some like Arnold Schwarzenegger
Nice
to meet you. That'd be great.
And then just like everybody dies of laughing and cold.
I would love that. So he's gonna be there, and then his Prison Break co-star Dominic Purcell will join as Mick Rory. So we're gonna be throwing in
Dr. Death in the comics. It's actually a woman.
Yeah, so we're gonna be throwing out. We're gonna be throwing in more villains there. So he's gonna be dealing with lots of people. We see him in the previews. We see him outrun a bullet, which is cool. Like dodge a bullet, which is also cool. And also big news for the Flash: Victor Garber got cast as the one half of Firestorm,
which is cool.
Yep, and the other cool thing about that, he's Dr. Martin Stein. The other half of Firestorm, Ronnie Raymond, is actually played by Robbie Amell, who is Stephen Amell's cousin.
Arrow's cousin.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I like how they're doing that. I know they're not going to make a reference to it. Although
I almost hope they do. Like a little.
The only reason they do.
Oh, my cousin's over in Starling City, and he's just making a mess out of everything.
Like, I would love it if like that was an Arrow episode, and they have like a brief moment where it's like, you look familiar, and like punches him.
Yeah.
I doubt they would
God,
do
please
that.
let that be a crossover episode where Arrow comes over.
That'd be great. I would love that.
That would be beautiful.
I don't know if that's gonna happen. Oh yeah, speaking of the crossover, that was also in the pilot.
That was
speaking
great.
of crossover, it's hilarious because you see the two styles immediately, and like you see like I don't want to say cheesiness of like Arrow, but like you see
it is so cheesy.
Oh, that
You
whole
see, like,
scene is
I was gonna
just
say-
coated in cheese. It's ridiculous.
I mean, on the radio, I heard a commercial for it, and I hear the Flash talking about being a superhero, and he's like, maybe the lightning chose you. I'm like, ugh. I know you don't mean that literally, but ugh.
But I think he did.
Yeah, that whole scene is just kind of like.
That being said, seeing...
But it's still good.
That being said, it was really cool seeing the two work together, and seeing the Flash after Stephen Amell jumps out the building, it's like, cool. And then once the Flash runs, he's hanging on the building, it's like, cool. I loved that. I love that they
awesome.
kind of like fanboyed over each other for a split second.
Especially still since, he doesn't have any power, like Arrow doesn't have any powers. The
Exactly.
fact that he's still freaking out over him is great.
Exactly.
Well, it's because Barry Allen is still a kid.
Yeah.
And I think that's the greatest thing. He doesn't really realize the extent of his own ability.
True.
Which
Yeah.
is definitely going to be something he can explore. But, like, if I was a Green Arrow, just like, cool, I just basically repelled myself off a building. Honestly, repelling yourself off a building, it looks really cool, but, like, it's same as repelling yourself off of a mountain. People do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does this, and Flash is like, oh, that's so cool, he's Green Arrow. And he doesn't think anything of it. And then he just, like, speeds away at top speeds, and he's just like, what?
I also thought it was interesting that somebody died because of him, in the first episode. I thought that was really intense. And also since, it's one of my favorite Justice League, I think
Wait,
it's
hang on.
JLU.
What do you mean?
In the car crash, when the car flipped over. Didn't somebody die because
Oh,
of it?
yeah.
It wasn't on purpose.
They didn't
but,
say. They didn't say it. There was a car that hit it
Yeah.
and it exploded, but we don't know if somebody actually died or not.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming someone was driving the car.
I guess they didn't say somebody actually died, and so they're not.
I think he
anything
did
about
say
it.
somebody died because of me. But anyway, one of my favorite episodes of JLU is when Lex Luthor and Flash switch bodies. But Lex Luthor actually starts messing with time rips and different things because he doesn't have control over Flash's powers or the considerate compassion of Barry to not do that. So I think Barry trying to figure out his powers in the beginning, what if he starts messing with things
That's
or
true.
hurting people just by using his own powers. I'd love to see just an episode where he just messes everything up and has to try and fix it. I don't want to wish pain on him.
Does Iris die? Does Iris die in the series
No.
through Barry's actions?
I have
I
not
don't think
read the
Iris
Flash
is.
comics.
She lives long enough where they have kids. She lives long enough where they have a son.
Who knows?
So-
Could be the.
Because we have Bart Allen
Yeah.
later.
Could be Jesse L. Martin.
Kid Flash.
So
Oh yeah, Jesse L. Martin will probably die. Just because he's a father figure.
I know.
He
yeah.
has to die.
hate it.
Always.
Either that or his actual dad. Which, by the way, I love that scene.
That was
Great
Oh my
acting
God.
between the two of them.
That was
That-
beautiful.
The acting between the two of them, because his dad got blamed for his mom's murder, and so he's sitting in prison, and Barry goes to him and tells him, I know you didn't do this.
I was not expecting that.
I'm so proud to be your son. And
That was the line that
Yeah.
killed me. It's I don't care that you're in here. I'm so proud to be your son.
Yeah.
And
It was a
how
great
he talks
scene.
about how his dad wanted him to change his name so nobody would
Yeah.
know that he was his kid. And
And he's
I was
I'm glad that they know that I'm your son. Yeah. That was a great scene.
Ugh.
That was so good all around.
Yes,
that
it was.
acting is incredibly good.
The acting was great. The
Yep.
writing of the pilot episode was great. I hope it continues on.
Well, what I loved about the episode, which is actually hilarious because this is The Flash, they wasted no time on exposition.
Yeah, no,
Right?
they really hit the ground
Yeah,
running.
they hit the
I
ground
didn't,
running.
I didn't mean to make a pun about it, but
I've been
it felt
dying
like
to.
the episode
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
it never stopped. It just kept going.
They explained the
going.
whole mom thing in his past in the first 5 to 7 minutes. He got the powers by 15 minutes in, and they just kept going, and that worked out really, really well. I think the pacing
That's really
helped them
tough to
especially.
do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially with something as quirky and strange and off as that was.
I think it helped them especially.
Mhm.
So, Flash is definitely going to be something to look forward to. So, Tuesday, CW, 8 o'clock. Watch it, enjoy it, see the pilot if you haven't watched it already. And so, speaking of other shows that are on the CW, Arrow, you two are going to talk
Are you
about
caught
this.
up?
I believe so.
Did you
You
watch?
actually watched the premiere?
No, I didn't. I'm not on this this season.
Dan.
Are you prepared for spoilers? Should I?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm excited.
This is a pretty big one in this one.
All right, so.
All right.
Talk about Arrow. Talk about how you feel.
This is.
Talk about your feelings.
I'll
take a break.
I love it so far. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Everyone is evolving. Thea's off with. We don't see her in this one, but Thea's off with her dad, who's John Barrowman.
Right.
And what's his name? Roy is finally Arsenal, who becomes Red Arrow, who's the sidekick, and they're doing much better with him. He's not just the angry guy in the corner anymore, which I also really like.
I know everybody's happy
He
about
was
that
so
one.
angsty for a while.
Yeah, that actor. I feel so bad for him. In every show he's ever in, I can tell he's a good actor, but the writing for him is always just.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't even the writing for him. The writing for Stephen Amell was bad. It's just that entire plot line was just put to the wayside.
Yeah.
It was not developed as well as I wish it would.
No, they were too busy focusing on Slade. But this one, they're picking it up and they're starting a little better.
Mirakuru, though. It makes everybody angry.
But yeah,
dumb.
Stephen Amell is great. Diggle becomes a dad, and you can tell that Felicity and Oliver are getting closer.
Don't you mean Olicity?
Olicity.
Olicity,
I hate
as
those
they're being called.
relationship names.
Why does
Yes.
everybody do that? Anytime, like a celebrity couple or not a celebrity, like a character couple gets together, it's like, we must merge their names.
That's the one.
Maybe so all you have to say is Olicity and everybody knows is what you're talking about.
That's the one was Chuck and Blair from Gossip Girl. Cher. That was my favorite one. That was my favorite one. Cher. But continue, Olicity. So we're talking about Olicity.
But yeah, she's being brilliant and awesome and helping him try and win his company back from, I forget the character name, but Brandon Routh is already great in this one. I love when he's...
The Atom?
Yes.
Yes.
I hate when he plays like the good guy. Like, not that he did terrible as Superman, that was mostly the writing's fault. But I love, especially since Scott Pilgrim, I love watching him play just like slimy people.
It's the eyebrows.
Because he's got the eyebrows, but he's also got, it's just like a kindly face, but then he just...
He's got like this voice, because that was what he was in Chuck. That he started off good, and then he became bad, and then, oh man, you love to hate him so much. He's so good at playing a villain.
Oh yeah.
Just a douche in general.
I love it.
Pardon my language.
I love it. He's just, you can already tell that he's going to be an enjoyable character, and he's funny, and he's back and forth, and he's already trying to pick up Felicity, which is interesting. And then Oliver and Felicity go back and forth on whether they should be together, and I have a feeling, like, they kind of make it sound like it's over and it's not going to happen, but of course it'll probably be dragged out through the rest of the season because it's CW. But the thing about this is Sarah dies at the end of this episode. She gets killed by black arrows.
Ooh.
So, one, I want Nissa to come back and wreck that town trying to find, because I love Katrina Loss so much. I love her so much. And I just want her to wreck everything. I want her on that show as much as possible. But since Laurel is the one who's actually supposed to be Black Canary,
they're going to do that.
I think they're finally getting around to making
And the thing
more
is,
Black
I
Canary.
hate Laurel.
I can't, because, alright, that actress, when she was on Supernatural 9 million years ago, that was the only show I've ever liked her in, was Supernatural.
Okay.
Because everything else I've seen since then, I'm like, is it just the writing, or do you just not care? I'm trying to figure it out.
The writing between her and Stephen Amell's character was not bad. Believe me, I wanted to give her excuses. I really did. It just... I analyzed that writing. It wasn't bad.
Or maybe she just hates her character, because her character doesn't really do anything.
That's true. There's no development.
She just kind of exists. So I'm hoping maybe if this all happens, that she'll develop enough and maybe like her character enough, because in Supernatural she played a badass.
That's true.
So maybe she just wants to play a badass again.
And to be fair, when she went through her like depression time in Arrow, when like she was doing the alcoholism, like her character started to develop, and I didn't mind her nearly as much.
Yeah, as
when she was stagnant.
Yeah.
I hated her because she just looked so bored, and if a character's bored, I'm bored, and I just don't like them. But when she started doing the depression stuff, like, she really developed these emotions. When she got upset, I'm like, okay, that's viable, like, I understand, you're still whiny, and I'm not a huge fan. But she actually had a reason to do things.
But yeah, as sad as I am to see Katie Lutz leave, I am excited that we will finally maybe see some moral development on the horizon.
Yeah.
Hope to God. But no, I'm interested. I really want to see where this season goes. As much as I don't think Oliver and Felicity would be a good couple, I want Felicity to be happy so bad I don't even care anymore. I'm just like,
I'm pretty sure
be
Felicity
together
is
for a little while.
everyone's favorite character.
Because she's amazing. God, I love her.
Good, right?
But
Okay.
yes. So, it was okay, and I hope it gets better.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you for that roundup, Tessa. I hope you're ready for round 2.
I am.
Because speaking of shows that can break your heart, we're going to be talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. next.
Well, I can do this one.
Another Whedon show.
Episode
not that
3.
Arrow
Another
is,
Whedon
but-
show.
Yeah, I was going to say not that Arrow is, but a Whedon show that breaks your heart.
Oh yeah.
So,
No, it's
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
this past episode.
It
Go.
hit its stride. I
Well,
think this last episode was
this
finally like,
this whole
we're in our
season.
groove. Oh no, it was all good, but I feel like they're finally in their groove.
Hang on, before we start
Sorry.
this,
Okay.
I
Yes.
want to give a shout out to John Cherbino who
Yes.
commented. Thank you, by the way, for doing that. He apologized to Dan for talking ill of a Joss Whedon show, and he
I'll
mentioned
talk to you later.
that it's good, but this new season seems cliche and kind of boring.
I would ask if he's seen the most recent episode
Okay.
because the first two were kind of like the first run of the show where it was like we have a mission, we go out, we come home. This one,
Kind of like Monster of the Week thing.
Yeah.
A little bit.
especially
Okay.
with the Absorbing Man and all that.
Okay.
It was really cool.
I was about to say the Absorbing Man is doing great.
Because when I heard that, I was like, that kind of sounds.
Bringing in Raina just for that little bit, I love her
Oh,
character.
she's a fantastic actress.
She's
I love
great.
her.
Her eyes.
Oh.
Ugh.
But no, this third episode was the one where I feel like, first of all, we have the whole team. We've seen the whole team now, and they're finally getting into this is what's going to happen for the rest of the season, and they're hinting at stuff clearly down the road for what's going to happen
Oh yeah.
to Simmons and other people.
Well, the big thing is that each episode apparently they've been giving hints about what's going to happen, like things with potential aliens, or like Coulson's really into carving stuff. You know?
Oh well, yeah, he keeps carving that in the eyeball episode where
Yeah.
Grant Ward wears those glasses and goes into that room and takes a picture of that. She keeps drawing that, and what's interesting is May he did tell somebody. May knows about it, and she's there every time to document and everything, which is fantastic. I'm like, thank God he's not doing that by himself. 'Cause
Right.
that's when horrible things happen
Yep.
in TV shows. So at least there's somebody there. But I love how May and Sky are developing. That is so cool. I love it. I love how Grant Ward, because I loved what happened with Grant Ward, and everybody hates him, but I just want to see where he goes. Because I can tell that actor was took that and ran with it.
Oh, he's doing a phenomenal job.
And that scene
With Fitz.
with Fitz, I was about to cry. I was so, oh my god.
Well, Fitz's development
Oh.
took a huge turn from season 1 to season 2. Season 2, we're doing spoilers, right?
Yeah.
So he has brain damage.
Yeah.
And
Because he was forced
You wasted no time on that one, Dan.
his temporal lobe was severely damaged.
because he lost oxygen when Ward tried to kill him.
And Simmons.
And Simmons. But Simmons was saved because Fitz made that device for her to breathe. But so he's really not the same person. He's not able to do all of the different things that he used to. He's losing track of words that he wants to use. He has no idea how to build the different things that he used to build. And luckily, Mac is one of the newer characters.
Amazing.
Mac is a phenomenal asset to Fitz, so that it's not like the romantic interest. Because originally, in the first part of the season, Fitz was hallucinating that Simmons was there with him. And every time he had a question, he turned to this hallucination because he had no one else to turn to. Now that Mac is there trying to help him, trying to communicate with Fitz, he no longer needs Simmons. He actually told the hallucination that you're not real, and
That
it
was
disappeared.
such a big
and
step from
never
another
appeared
episode.
again after that.
Oh my god.
And so, his development is absolutely incredible. In the latest episode, he almost kills Ward. And that whole scene I was on the edge of my seat.
Because he doesn't know that they have Ward trapped in this bunker with them, but he has an inkling. Because his brain, his beautiful brain is still at least partially there. So he goes down and immediately has a panic attack as soon as he sees Ward, and that whole scene is just kills you. But it's so good.
Now, with what you said, Jeremy, I'm going to directly speak to you.
Would you like to
through
sit in
the
this
camera.
seat, Dan?
No, but I can see what you mean by things are getting a little cliche and cheesy, because if in my opinion, if you're not a fan of Coulson, as Coulson is, it can easily come across as cheesy.
Yeah.
Between that and the newer people.
Oh, like the Mercenaries?
Yes, the Mercenaries. That's the word I was looking for. Between that and the Mercenaries, it can get a little forced. But with
also because we don't know these people yet, like not like we know the other characters.
Exactly, and with the latest episodes, with it kind of being more espionage-y than it is we're funded by a giant corporate organization or a government organization, and that new espionage kind of feel could come across cheesy. I'm a huge fan of it. I'm loving where the characters are going, but I can see where you're coming from on that.
I would say give it through. If you've watched the third episode and you still think it's cheesy, maybe rethink watching the show. But if you haven't watched the third episode yet, that's what really maybe was like, wow, this season is going to be intense. Because Simmons is also a mole in Hydra, which is crazy because we've seen Simmons live before and it's not a good thing. But I think after everything that happened with Fitz and with S.H.I.E.L.D. falling apart, she's like, screw it, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do whatever damage I can. Yeah. But they also mentioned Dr. Faustus,
yes, they
which
did.
is great. And I'm wondering, because I'm like, okay, they didn't say if he's alive or not, so does that mean that he was around in Agent Carter's time? Are we going to see her go up against him?
I think it's going to be... what's his face? The guy that played Dominic in Dollhouse.
Yeah, I think it's going to be him, but I'm wondering if, like, Dr. Faustus is going to be around for this era, or is he going to appear in Agent Carter, which I'm also excited about. Okay. But, yeah, it's, like, brainwashing and stuff, and you see that throughout the course of the episode, you see them brainwash this, like, staunchly, like, pro-S.H.I.E.L.D. agent into a Hydra agent. And so they mention, you know, if Simmons turns out to not be who she says she is, then they're going to brainwash her. Which is like, of course, it's a Joss Whedon show, so that means she's going to end up being brainwashed. And I'm like, is Fitz going to be the only person who can knock her out of it?
Or are they going to have to kill her?
They can't. No.
Of course they can't.
Everything has to be happy. No. What's going to happen if they do kill her? She'll be brainwashed. Fitz will help fix her, and then she'll die after everything's happy and perfect.
Yeah,
because that's how Joss Whedon does it.
I don't know. Either that or Fitz will. Either that or Fitz will bite the dust because he helped her, and then. I don't know.
I feel like Fitz is too tragic.
Someone's gonna die.
I feel like Joss is predictably unpredictable.
Yeah.
You know what he's gonna do, you just don't know how he's gonna do it. You know? And I think this season it seems like they're working towards Sky's father.
Yeah, well, we've seen him.
That too.
We saw him in the second, which I was shocked we got to see his face.
Yeah, they're ramping to that. Is that, you know, that's another big thing. And also, they need to get people watching the show because their ratings are still going down.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if, and we can discuss that at a later time, I don't know exactly if the ratings are bad. I mean, Disney owns Marvel. I mean, yeah, they may cancel it, but I don't know if they'd be like, you know, we're going to put this on Netflix.
I would hope
because the other rumor that I read on, I believe, mattmoore.com was that they're hoping to have Daredevil make a cameo in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as almost like a backdoor, kind of like Flash and Arrow, as a backdoor to the Daredevil series on Netflix.
Which might hint at them having a plan B, hopefully. If this show doesn't do well, we can just kind of move it over to Netflix, and Netflix will get 9 million views no matter who it is, because it's available.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I would not be surprised if the ratings did not do well if they moved it over to Netflix, they transitioned that over.
As long as we still get it, I don't care.
Yeah. And I know one thing that'll help the ratings, Robert Downey Jr. really wants to be a cameo on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That would be great.
If he was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., regardless of what episode it would be, I'm sure people would watch that episode because like, oh hey, Robert Downey Jr. is there.
Yep.
Unfortunately, because it's an overarching story instead of an episodic story, people get lost. That's one of the biggest problems about that kind of show. People have a harder time picking it up now.
Yeah.
Because they have to go through the entire first season to get to the second season.
And a lot of people couldn't make it through the first season because it was so slow.
Exactly. Yep. I mean, honestly, if you know what happens to S.H.I.E.L.D.,
you don't really need anything else.
You can start with season 2.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, if you know what happens to S.H.I.E.L.D., everything else is more or less explained.
Yeah.
The only thing that's kind of confusing is the whole Fitzsimmons.
Yeah.
Other than that, you should be golden.
Okay. That's good to know.
But yeah, and then speaking of Sky's father, I'm really hoping that they go down the Inhuman route.
Oh, I think they will.
Because I was reading an article, I forgot where, hopefully I'll be able to find it.
I'm trying to be better about sourcing, Dan.
I know, I'm not.
Come on, Dan.
Because I'm awful at this. It's on our private page. That the first comic of the Inhumans has these little symbols on the title. The same symbols are found in Coulson's drawings.
Okay.
And Marvel's just smart enough to connect everything like that.
Exactly. Yep. And because Marvel does actually tie into the comics more than DC does, that is a very, very big possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because it involves the Kree, it involves experimentation, everything is pointing towards that.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's an ancient race, not an ancient race, that's Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm mixing up things. Regardless, Sky's father may be one of the Inhumans, because they talked about experimentation earlier on as well.
That'd be interesting.
Well, especially since they talked about, at the end of Captain America, the after scene,
The
about
volunteers.
like liquidating the other volunteers.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who comes into every scene wiping blood off his hands can obviously get out of something like that. So I feel like maybe he's one of the
Volunteers.
miracles who got away.
Yeah, exactly. So, big things, Raiders of the Shield coming up. I'm going to have to catch up. I need to catch up.
Reyna touching the thing and living.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sorry.
we'll move on.
Yes.
Yeah, so, moving on, because I have to keep going, Gotham. Now, have you been watching Gotham?
Yes, I've
So,
caught
we've
up.
all been watching Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
Marcellus Cutler commented he didn't see how the show can sustain itself. And I understand that criticism after watching the first 3 episodes, because my problem with it is that it's almost like it seems like they keep cutting back to young Bruce Wayne trying to be Batman too much.
Yeah.
Like-
I feel like they need to. I like him peppered in, but I feel like they do need to focus a little more on Gordon. I feel like their problem right now is they haven't hit their stride yet. They haven't found their groove. They haven't found their their
tone?
their tone.
Yeah.
Perfect. Because like Arrow has a tone. Flash already has set up a tone.
Yeah.
Right?
And Gotham kind of keeps going back and forth as to what it wants to be,
Yeah.
and it just kind of needs to find it and hit with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm hoping. The end of this last episode was like shit. So I'm like hoping that maybe that'll help it catapult into something that'll get it its own tone and get it set there. And keep it
Exactly.
going.
Because, I mean, the main thing is that a lot of people are wondering if it can sustain itself, because it seems like they're just using Batman's gallery of villains.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, Penguin is a huge character in it.
That's great.
I don't know how I feel about him.
That actor is amazing.
He's doing a great job. I don't really know how I feel about the Penguin character, because I'm kind of annoyed by him. I'm like, you left Gotham for an episode and then you came back because you couldn't make it out in like 1970s Earth, which looks like 20,000 years ahead.
Well,
of
Gotham
current
always
Gotham.
kind of exists in
That's
this
Gotham.
weird time
But
shift.
yeah, that's Gotham. But I'm like, but him showing up at the end of that last episode, hinting that there's going to be some kind of mob war heading out. We see it between Falcone and Fish Mooney and Maroni. Like, they're all.
Oh, I love that he's Angel from Dexter.
Yes.
I freaked out when I saw him. He came up. I was like, "Yes, it's you!"
Yes, I love that. That was really cool. So they're ramping up to some kind of war. I'm wondering if they're going to be hitting that now in the middle of season, not even in the middle of season 1,
Right.
A quarter of the way
They
through.
might have to help pick it up.
Yeah.
But what I'm also, I wanted to remind people. I was talking to the other day. It's like the show's not called Gordon. It's called Gotham.
Yeah.
It's about how Gotham
Okay.
becomes what it is when Batman comes around. So yes, it's about Gordon and his rise to the police force, and it's about because you can see the criminal underworld through Penguin,
Exactly.
and I love how already he's slipping in under into
Oh,
Maroni's
yeah.
bucket through there. I love that in this last episode.
That was great.
And you get to see it through how it's affecting the children of Gotham through Selena and
Yep.
Bruce, and the police that are on the outside who are actually still trying to do good and who have been there throughout through Renee Montoya, who I love that they kept that she's a lesbian through the comics.
Yep.
I know you told me.
I was going to say, I told you the other day I was watching it, and then she was like, I stole that spare key. I was like, oh, Tessa's going to love that. Tessa loves that.
Yeah.
Because in the comic, because she was first introduced in animated series, but in Gotham Central they outed her as a lesbian, and when she was on the show, I was like, Are they going to keep the comic stuff? Or are they going to just brush over that? Are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? And they did, and I freaked out.
Yep.
I loved it. But I love that it also connects Barbara, because otherwise her only connection will be Gordon, and we get really tired of her.
Yeah.
So,
And she apparently never goes to work.
Yeah, right.
She never goes to
I
work.
love that we don't really know what she is. She
Yeah.
just kind of hang out.
She just hangs out. Apparently, she just hangs out at home, smokes
It's her
weed.
apartment.
Yeah.
So
They just hang out at the apartment and smoke weed. Apparently, is all they do.
Okay.
That's all she does.
I don't know.
That's her job.
At least that's all we know.
That'd be an interesting job.
I mean, that's all she's doing right now.
maybe she's
I'm
an internet mogul.
They mentioned her job early on. I can't remember. I think she's some
an
kind
art
of.
thing, right?
I can think it's an arts thing. Yeah, but like, I keep waiting to see her like do something or like have
Do
her come into play
anything
with.
outside of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see her like do something and Jim Gordon has to protect her, which maybe that's what having the Penguin show up is gonna do. You know, I'm waiting to see that kind of evolve because I think it could easily just be a cop show. Just they involve the mob and they, you know, it could easily just be a procedural cop show if that's what they want it to be, and show you, like you said, Gotham like getting worse almost, getting better but getting worse at the same time. You know.
And I think that's the problem people are having is because they want it to be either Law and Order or like Boardwalk Empire. They want it to be one or the other. And the problem is the show's trying to be both. It's trying to give you both sides of the city at the same time. And they haven't hit a stride with a way to do that yet. That's not kind of back and forth yet.
Yeah.
So once they find that way, then I think we'll be. I'm hoping this episode tomorrow.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I'm hoping
That'd be
to.
great.
That'd be a nice episode to see. Hopefully they move forward.
And as cheesy as he was, I loved the Balloon Man because, like, at first,
I actually enjoyed that.
well, I just thought it was kind of dorky. The first time he goes up, I was like, "Oh, really? He attacks people with balloons? Oh!"
Yeah.
But then when they fall out of the sky and
Yeah.
like kill people with their bloody frozen,
He had to fall on a person. Really, that was a little much for me.
I think my favorite part
I
about
wasn't that
that.
it was a person. It was like an old lady walking a dog.
So
I think
cheesy.
my favorite part about that was like really Gordon and Bullock apparently have no idea how weather balloons work.
Right.
I'm like, where do you think they go? They're not just gonna float up to space. Like they're gonna come down. Why are you so surprised?
It's a balloon, guys.
I'm like, the atmosphere is going to pop the balloon. Like, are you serious?
Oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe neither of them got through high school.
I mean,
no.
maybe they're just like the writer's like, all right, okay, we'll just have this. It's like, well, I mean, how are they supposed to know the balloons pop? It's like, fine, I'll write it in. I'm sorry.
I
Jeez.
am a as much as I like Bullock, I'm finding like his acceptance of the law or his lack of enforcing it kind of frustrating because like it's been good the first two episodes and the third episode he's like, oh, we don't have a body and he got what was coming to him, so we don't need to investigate this. I'm like, are you what? I'm like, so it's to the point where it's like some guy got what's coming to him, so we don't need to deal with it because he's a bad guy. And
I think he's just really lazy.
I think he's lazy. I think he's not necessarily a bad person. Like, unless the situation is right in front of his face and he's going to be a villain if he doesn't do it, I think that's the only time he'll ever do anything.
I guess, but like the first two episodes played with that so much better, and this one's
Yeah.
like, oh, we don't need to investigate
The
this.
third
Like the
episode-
citizens are gonna. I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
The third episode was lacking, honestly. The first two episodes were good. I'm getting tired of Barbara. Like, I just want her to do something. And then, just seriously, like, she's
Do
getting
something.
annoying. But, like, the third episode, it was very flatlined until... The whole point of that third episode, in my opinion, was to give the Penguin time to get to Gordon's house.
Oh, I actually thought the whole point of it was to show that, like, because
Right.
some guy became a vigilante, like, I'm pretty sure that they built that whole episode so that Bruce can talk about how he doesn't know if he's doing anything good, if it's going to get better, and also so that the news reporter can have the line where it's like, will another vigilante rise? And then, of course, Bruce is watching, he's like, I need to eat food now so I can get stronger. I'm like, because it was doing really well in that episode because of it, because he was like, they showed him having fun with Alfred, and they're doing like some like
That
random
was
like
great.
play sword fighting. I thought that was really cool. And I was like, that's great. I don't mind that at all. Like him being like, I'm gonna touch this flame and conquer my fear. I'm like, your parents. Like, no offense, your parents just died. You gotta give it, like, time before you become Batman.
There was actually a review I saw online, Jeremy Johns, his YouTube video, that I thought was really interesting. He said what they should have done is still had the Waynes a part of Gotham and made the killing of the Waynes the season finale. And I thought that would have been really interesting because that way you can see how Falcone and the Waynes run Gotham. Because right now it just looks like the Waynes are terrible parents who told Alfred, let our kid do whatever they want.
Oh yeah, sure. Because they're like, oh, we don't want any psychiatric help because we don't want that to happen after we die. It's like what?
We want our son to develop really bad.
I read so many reviews. I read so many reviews that were like, what parent writes that into their will? Like, we don't want our son being examined by a shrink after we die. It's like, what? Who writes that?
God.
I like it.
I almost wish they'd done that a little bit.
I like it.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome. But I don't think they would. I don't think Fox would let them because I think it needs to start with that. I think in order to get people watching it.
Yeah, true.
I think
that
was the whole
tragedy
draw.
right off.
I'm sure maybe they wanted to do that, but they couldn't. So I'm still intrigued with where it's going, and I'm still gonna watch it. But like, as weeks go on, I'm like, all right, where are we going with this? How's it gonna happen? So.
Well, hopefully they'll hit their stride in the next couple.
Yeah, they need to.
Yep.
And I think what might connect it is since Oswald is back and is apparently not leaving, Gordon will be even more connected to the underworld through Oswald and the spy. So it might finally fuse together, and maybe Barbara will get a job. Things will get better.
That'd be nice. So I guess Marcellus, we agree and disagree with you at the same time.
We agree but are hopeful.
Exactly, yeah. So, that's Gotham. Hopefully it gets better, keep your fingers crossed. If nothing else, we've got the Flash and Arrow.
And Constantine.
Well, I was talking about DC shows.
Oh, okay.
So, calm down, Dan. Calm down. Calm down, Dan.
Don't diss Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I was going to say, calm down. So, those are the kind of superhero shows that we've got coming up, or that we're watching now. We've got Constantine coming up. We've got Agent Peggy Carter coming up. I think, like I said, we got Walking Dead coming back tonight. Spoilers for that. In the comics, the main character dies that everybody loves, and he may die this season, maybe even in this episode.
Oh.
Yep. So, we'll see where that goes. We may do a Halloween episode based on that. Stay tuned for our Halloween episode. Yeah, there would be.
Yeah.
How about our podcast episodes just like us watching a scary movie? Or us...
We can do a clip of us
what can we
watching
do?
a scary movie. We could play
Five Nights
at Freddy's, yeah.
First off, no.
Yes, we have to for the viewers, John. It's for the viewers.
I don't think any viewer is asking for that. Don't ask for that. Don't ask for it.
No, my God, I would have nightmares for a week.
So, I work at Muppets at Hollywood Studios. I started trading the day after I saw that game. And they've got the animatronic penguins in the show, and of course, naturally, I see them, and they
running.
They turn during the show, so I'm like, oh, I love the Muppets, and half of me is like,
It's really
so maybe we'll do that. But moving forward in the show, comic book news. Like I said, New York Comic Con's this week, huge. Everybody wants to go to that. I want to go to that. San Diego Comic Con, E3. And I guess Dragon Con are my main things I'm going to need to go to. So, first thing, Daredevil. New news for Daredevil, first screenshots.
I think it makes sense. I love it.
I like it.
I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a little cheesy. It could be really good.
Rosario Dawson and Deborah Ann Wall, and I love that main actor who I'm not going to remember his name, but he was in, I guess, Boardwalk Empire and Stardust.
Oh, man, that's going to bother me. Hang on, I'm looking this up right now.
But he is fantastic.
Keep talking about it.
And I really think Daredevil will super benefit from a TV show as opposed to a movie, and so I'm hoping it does really well.
I think it will. And on the positive side, if it's terrible, they can always just cast that guy as Batman in the future. So... we've got that, if nothing else. So...
they never recast Batman, though.
Ever.
I think the funny thing is, I've been reading so many articles about Daredevil, and I'm seeing people, be like, make the obvious joke that he can't see, but then they talk about how, he can see when it rains, and everybody's like, no, that's not actually how it works in the comic. Rain freaks him out. The next comment's like, wow, I saw that when I was a kid, and I thought that was his powers. How much did that get wrong for me?
That's so sad.
Yep, that's what I thought. I thought that because that was my first exposure to Daredevil. So I thought that he could totally see in the rain.
Yeah.
Like, because that came out of what, like, 01,
Yeah.
02? Like, yeah, I was 8 or 9 at that time, so it's like, it makes perfect sense as to why I
he
think
hears all of that. He's just like,
So-
ah!
Charlie Cox.
Yes,
Charlie Cox
yes,
is the
yes.
actor. I think he's going to do great.
Mm.
Oh,
So, he's going to do an awesome job. So, that's the big thing on that. Speaking of other TV shows that were announced by Marvel, animated Guardians of the Galaxy, they showed test footage for that. It's an animated show. It's going to be taking place right after Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and it's going to take off from there and explore the universe with them, and Thanos is going to be involved in it, so we're going to see how that kind of goes into effect, and that's really exciting to see.
Yeah, we're going to hope it goes the way of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes and not Avengers Assemble.
Yes.
We're going to hope that.
That'd be good. That would be really good. Huge news for Marvel. They announced that they're going to be bringing back their Secret Wars
That's going to be the
event.
next big
Yep.
deal.
Yeah, the next big run, yeah.
Pretty much, it was 30 years ago that the original Secret Wars ran, and now they're bringing it back in May of next year. That's going to be a huge thing. It looks like we're going to have, according to the picture, we're going to have Thor fighting new Thor. We're going to have Captain America fighting Falcon. There's lots of stuff going on.
God.
You need to look at that picture. It's awesome. So, that's another huge event for them. So many events. We already have Axis going on right now.
Sixes.
It's not Sixes. I almost called it that because of the
Sixes.
writing. Yeah, we have Axis going on. They have so many events. Marvel loves events.
Yeah.
They love taking our money.
But good things they're doing. That Gwen Stacy comic that we were freaking out
Bam.
about is actually going to get its own run.
Yes, it
Yep.
is.
Which is amazing.
It's getting its own run, which is awesome because that first issue was really great. If
It
you
was.
haven't read it, read it, please. The style is unique. Having Gwen Stacy as protagonist is an interesting take too, especially with Peter Parker being dead already.
Well, if they do, they might go back
I was
to
like,
the
I
origin.
figured they're going to
True.
go the origin.
I would
Origin would be cool.
love that.
Origin would be really cool. So we can see how that happens.
And how she and Peter Parker have a relationship and whatnot.
Yep.
Oh my god. Which would be even more devastating because, I mean, like, her death is awful, but if, like, the whole time they have a relationship and then he becomes the lizard and then she has to kill him to
Yep.
save. Oh my god, that would be the worst.
That'd be worth. Yeah, that'd be pretty bad
That'd
too.
be so good.
So
We love pain. There we go.
I
Yay!
mean, that's superheroes in general.
True.
So those are the big things coming out of New York Comic Con. Granted, there's plenty of things that came out that we haven't even talked about, such as like Spider-Man, how Marvel and Sony are in talks. Or at least they're trying to.
They're trying to talk about getting him into an Avengers movie.
Which would be awesome
And
in
Sony
so
has,
many ways.
Sony has no idea what they're doing with him right now.
Yeah, and it's one of those. He needs to be a part of the Avengers. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they really do need that.
Everybody wants Civil War. You have to have Spider-Man for Civil War.
He's like one of the biggest parts of the whole thing.
Yep, you have to have that if you're going to do that. So
hopefully.
So that'd be cool. Another thing is that the Avengers 2 trailer is going to be shown with Interstellar. The very first Avengers trailer shown with Interstellar.
Thank
So-
God we don't have to wait till the Super Bowl this year.
Right?
'Cause I was gonna
man.
freak out if we had to
Oh,
wait
my
that
God.
long again.
Mm.
But
It's going to be like a 10-second teaser right now.
don't hurt
Yep.
me.
Unfortunately, not as much news about DC. Not a whole lot of new things coming out. They're creating a Wonder Woman 77, 1977 comic, a digital comic. So that's going to be something cool to look into as well. But not a whole lot out of them
Just yet. Anyway.
recently. Yeah, I mean, they kind of been busy with Arrow and Flash. So,
And their new movies.
yeah, and Gotham. So, obviously we'll update you the more we hear about that. But that's the main news coming out of New York Comic Con.
Yep.
So we're going to post more on the wall, so stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, we have 2 questions.
We're going to have to try and make them quick.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So the first question. Oh God, I hope I pronounced this right. Trivla. I feel like it's.
I'm pretty sure it's Trivia.
Or is it Trivla?
It's an L. It's an L.
Is
on,
it?
Yeah, it's an
Because
L.
it's a line. When I see it, it's a line.
Oh,
That
really?
could be a capital I.
Oh.
Okay, so it could be that.
Trivia.
I can see that. So maybe it is that.
Trivla.
I'm so sorry if I totally butchered that, which I probably did. But anyway, so you asked, what are some random civilian jobs for superheroes? So, what do you think?
Yeah, my favorites that I came up with include Pym and Reed Plumbing.
Yep.
Which is Hank Pym and Reed Richards as plumbers, because Mr. Fantastic would be able to wind his arms around, find all of the different leaks and stuff, and if he can't see, like, if something's really hidden in the back, Ant-Man.
Yep.
Just shrink down and, like, walk over there. Hey, Reed, it's this one over here. It's Pim and Reed plumbers all the way.
Yep.
That's my favorite.
That's a good
They
one.
won't make such a mess of things.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or worse.
What was another good one we had? We had the Hulk.
The Hulk.
Yeah, the Hulk.
Banner Constructions.
Banner Constructions and Hulk Demolitions.
Yep.
So Banner can help you build things, and the Hulk can help you demolish things.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
And then the Obadiah Stane one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Obadiah Stane's Scrapyard.
Dan thought of that one. I think
From-
it's great.
Well, we were talking about the movie quote where he's like, Tony Stark built this in a
cave
with a box of scraps. So we had to give him a scrapyard,
Yep.
so he can build one too.
Yeah, so he can do that. And then I think we had John Jones.
Yes, story time with John Jones.
He's like Mr. Rogers for the new age.
Because he's got that smooth, velvety voice.
And he can shapeshift into all the characters.
Yep, it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Puppet Theater with John Jones.
So, there you go, random civilian jobs, superheroes. Thank you so much for asking us that question. And then the other one actually came from one of your friends at work.
Yeah, he was talking to me about who would win in a fight, whether it is Human Torch or Pyro. Now, the fun thing is Pyro can manipulate fire, and Human Torch can create fire, but he's immune to fire. So...
Which, my thought is, they both think that Human Torch would win, but I think that if Human Torch gets up in the air and Pyro can manipulate the fire off of him, like suck it all out of him, then he could fall on the ground and die.
I was going to say, that's why I thought he'd win, but when you mentioned that, I'm like, wait, no, I don't know. Because that turns into a fist fight, because...
Well, if he falls, like, far enough.
Well, yeah, but... I guess. But I feel like he would know that Pyro can control fire.
True.
Because they've worked together.
And then just be a fist fight.
Yeah. So, it's a fist fight, and I don't know who would win. I mean, Human Torch got the crap beat out of him by civilians in Civil War, so...
Well, then again, I guess it's because he probably didn't fight back.
Yeah, he didn't fight back either, so I don't really know. I'm going to say Human Torch because I like Human Torch.
Fair
so
I'm going to say Pyro because he can be kind of a jerk. Because he's kind of like that gray area person.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
he wouldn't be as afraid to pull punches.
That's true.
That was a question from my coworker, Hanif.
So
Which brings us to our new thing that we're going to be doing on our
Yes. From next Saturdays, right?
Yeah.
Next Saturday on, we're going to be doing this kind of poll thing on Facebook called Superhero Showdown. So we're going to pick 2 different heroes, maybe a hero and a villain, maybe 2 villains, maybe 2 side characters that have absolutely no correlation with each other, and pit them up against each other. And we're going to ask you, who do you think would win and why? And then we'll probably pick our favorite answers and put them on our podcast. But definitely we want to hear your opinions on it. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. We'll probably do our own answers for each of them.
Yep.
But we hope you guys enjoy it as well.
So, all right. Well, I guess it's that time.
Oh, is it?
So
Is it that time, John?
I guess it's that time. You don't have a watch, so you can't see.
No, but I can look at my wrist just the same.
Ah, beautiful. Is that freckle still there?
No.
Well, anyway, so I guess it's pretty much all the time we have for this episode. However, I will say that we're up to 839 likes right now.
Woo.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for liking our page, liking our content, commenting on stuff. We love it. We love being able to answer these questions.
We love you.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Dan. So, thank you so much for doing this. Like I said, when we hit 1,000 likes, we're going to let you guys pick what we do to celebrate, as long as it's like, I think PG-13 rated for the most part.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be fun. We're going to be dressing up for Halloween, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome.
We're going to come up with Halloween themes pretty soon. If you have any suggestions for topics, things you'd like to see, please let us know, and we will do them. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it.
Sounds good.
You guys good?
I'm great.
All right.
How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank
Awesome.
you. I'm great.
Glad to hear
All
that.
right. So, that being said, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for watching us for the first time, if you are joining us for the first time. So, signing off, we are Nerds in a Box. I'm John Dwyer.
Dan Kiefer.
Tessa Barletta.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.